Welcome to the talkSPORT MMA YouTube channel to this fella, the Sraban Animal. That's right. He is back on Irish soil. 22nd of March. The man returns to Belfast. I think this might be for the first time in about 5 or 6 years. He'll be able to tell us himself. Yeah. It is the one and only Mr. James Gallagher. How are you, Jimmy? You good, mate?
I'm good, mate. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
It's an absolute pleasure to get you on the show, mate, and obviously previewing what's coming up on March 22nd. A lot of fans extremely excited to see you back in action. We're going to give a little bit of a synopsis about what craziness has been going on over the last 2 to 3 years, mate. And obviously now we're going to talk about making an onslaught on some titles and what's coming up next for you. But was I right there in saying that this is the first time in Belfast for, I think, 5 or 6 years? And I think, when was the last time you were in Dublin? About 4 years ago, something like that?
Yeah, it would have been about 3 years to the last time I fought in Dublin. And it's about 5 or 6 since the last time I fought in Belfast. But me, man, it feels good to be back. It feels good to be back. The cold doesn't feel too good, but it's good to be back.
That's a man that's making reference to obviously doing quite a lot of his training in Thailand. We're going to get to that in a minute as well. But first of all, Belfast, mate, the phone must have been ringing off the hook once they announced your name and they said that you were going to be on the March 22nd card. I know you've had a change of opponent in that time, which we'll get to, but that must give you some type of buzz, the thirst for the Northern Irish and obviously Irish fans to come out and watch you do your thing.
Yeah, man, it's just always it's a different kind of feeling. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, you got the hard fight in your hands and stuff like that, but just like the gratitude and it just reminds you how blessed you are to be able to do this game and to be able to show up every day. And because as hard as the game is, do you know what I mean? As hard as it is every day to go and get beat up at training every day, do you know what I mean? So when you get these opportunities and you're around your family and you get to show out in front of all your friends and all the fans here and stuff, do you know what I mean? So it's just kind of more like it gets like a gratitude feeling, do you know what I mean? I'm just grateful for this opportunity to be able to do this again in front of my people, and all these years of hard work's paid off and has led me to this, do you know what I mean? So, man, it feels good.
Well, you do like showing out, mate, so I've no doubt there'll be a nice new suit for everybody to obviously enjoy next week or something like that, you know what I mean? Maybe a new pair of shades or something like that. Is that what we're bringing?
We'll keep it. We'll see. Tune in.
Keep it down low.
Tune in and you'll see.
You see, there's a salesman. Ladies and gentlemen. He knew what the score was with that. I want to talk about Thailand because this is now the second camp that you've the first one you kind of dip your toes in. This one seems to be more of a, right, this is where I'm going to be. This is where I'm going to be doing my thing. And I believe that journey kind of started with a mutual friend of ours, Brendan Loughnane.
Yeah.
Saying, listen, man, Thailand's for you. Get yourself out there. Get yourself on the beach all day and train all night, you know?
Yeah.
So talk to me about that journey.
So Brendan won his belt, so he did, and was doing a road trip through Kansas City where I was. And at that time, the gym that I was training at just closed down. Yeah. And Brendan just won his belt. He was like, come on, we're going celebrating kind of thing. So I was like, all right, I'll show you the time. You know what I mean? So we went out and was just speaking about his training camp. And he's asked me what I'm going to do and blah, blah, blah. Do you know what I mean? We knew each other for a few years. And he was just like, mate, get out to Thailand. You got Frank and George and all, Bang Tao. And you got John Hutchison out there. And all these kind of guys, you know what I mean? And Big Woody and stuff for trying conditioning. So I just went out and that's what I did. And I did that for my last fight camp. And I just fell in love with the place, man. So I did. It was unbelievable. Just the training, the atmosphere. It's like just training in paradise, you know? And the coaching out there, second to none.
It feels, from the outside looking in, do you know, like when the stars align for something? Because that, you just highlighted the gym situation there, and it was a tough time. For people that don't know too much about it, everybody knows the story connected to James Krause, people that you were working with. That gym ended up getting shut down, and therefore you kind of been left in limbo to a certain extent. You had to go and figure some stuff out. You had a few injuries as well that you were figuring out. So I know that you're going through a bit of a tough time, if we're dead honest, mate. When you met up with Brent, what was that like in and around that time? And then obviously the lightning moment of going, well, hang on, this could be my light. This could be my way out of this dark tunnel.
Yeah, man, it was a very, very hard time. And not only that, I had injuries, I had the gym closing, and I had personal issues going on as well. And it was just like one of them times I was like, is the light going to be at the end of the tunnel? Do you know what I mean? And I'm always a positive person. I'm always working hard, but it was definitely one of them moments. And then Brendan came and he's like, mate, it was 26 then it was. And he's like, you're 26 years old. He's all, look at me. He's all, I'm a world champion. I just won $1 million in the tournament. He was all, look at me right now. He was all, go to Thailand and training. He was all, you're full of potential. And it was just one of them really, not that I was ever giving up or anything like that, but it was just like a new lease of life for me. I was like, that's exactly what I'm going to do. That it was just, there was no thinking about it. It was just more, I'm going to go and do that. Do you know what I mean? When he told me, and I just got that new lease of life, and I went and did it.
Brendan, I suppose, is one of the perfect examples because everybody knows his journey with the UFC when he didn't get a contract and he really should have got a contract. The disappointments that he's had, the hard way that he's had to navigate his own career. For them to be stood in front of you as a millionaire, as a champion, to be able to just maybe throw that little bit of experience, because he's a bit older than you, but to throw that little bit of experience your way to inspire you in the moment when you were feeling like things were going against you. That's a big thing. We need those things in our lives, don't we? Just to reignite the flame. It's not out, but you just need someone just to pump a little bit more petrol on it. You know what I mean?
On it, and that's exactly what he did. And man, it was great. And ever since, it's just been. It's kind of like one good opportunity comes, and then you just kind of like, all right, it's a good one to just keep the ball rolling. Then another one's rolling. Then another one's rolling, and it's just like a snowball effect. And man, now I'm fucking flying. So I feel great, happy, everything is going smooth. Nothing could be really too much better.
How was 2 years out of competition for you? Because obviously, I speak to fighters all the time. When you do suffer a loss inside that cage, inside that octagon, it does linger for a long period of time. It's not like football that you're back in next week and you can just go and get another win under your belt and then it's all gone. It's there for a bit, and obviously you're out of competition for the best part of 2 years, mate. That must be a bloody nightmare.
It was hard, man. So hard. It's just kind of like, but I just kind of always try and use it as positives. Do you know what I mean? And kind of go, this is just teaching me a mental lesson, and this is just something that I gotta. And I'm always a big believer. It's like when nothing's going right, just stick with where you are. Do you know what I mean? Just take one step, 1 foot forward each day, and stop trying to rush things. So when nothing's going right, I kind of just slow down and just take one step at a time, and that's what I was doing until Brendan came along and just like, get out to Thailand. And I was like, all right, I just went running for it. Boom, good luck. Do you know what I mean? And that's the kind of mentality. And it's kind of been like I took off jogging for there, and now I'm sprinting. Do you know what I mean? And that's how I feel. And my little level. And it's funny because I came back here to Ireland 3 days ago, and one of my old coaches and teammates, I rolled with him. And he just got up after like 3 rounds of roll and was like, holy man. He was all, do you know what I mean? Every time you go away and come back, there's always an improvement. But the last 6 months, he was like, what the have you been doing? And I was all, exactly.
I've been swimming with sharks, mate, in Thailand is basically what I've been doing every single day.
Exactly.
And we see a lot of fighters do this now. And obviously Brendan's a big advocate of it, and there's others that we could touch upon. Just talk to me about the level of competition, the work that you're getting on those mats in Thailand, from striking right through to your own pool of being one of the elite grapplers in this sport.
Yeah, man, it's unbelievable. It's just, and you never know each day that you go there, you never know what you're going to get. Do you know what I mean? You can have world champion wrestlers in from world-class boxing in. Do you know what I mean? So it's always good, and then you just got my coaches
that
there.
That keeps you sharp, though, doesn't it? That when you don't know it, that just keeps you sharp constantly.
100%. So every day, and that's what's really like up to your level of competition, because you're going in with the mindset of going, obviously you want to be a good training partner and everything, but you got to defend your spot a little bit, and you know what I mean? And you got new people coming in every day looking to kind of take that from you. So it's all in a good way. I don't mean that as in people are coming in here and trying to take your head off or anything, but people are coming to test you, and you need tested every day in some way or another. You need tested, and that's what gets you back in tomorrow. Is today's test gets me back in there tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? And that's what you need, and that spark. They going, I did great in that round there, but I got caught with this little reversal, or I couldn't take his back the way I take everyone else's back, or I couldn't get my jab landed today. Do you know what I mean? But best believe it, I'm going to do it tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? So that's why it's so good out there.
Now that you know what Patrcio has gone on to go and do, how do you reflect on that defeat differently than you did in the immediate aftermath?
Nah. Do you know what I mean? I class myself as one of the best fighters in the world, and I went in there and fought one of the best fighters in the world, and it's no surprise to me what he went and did. Do you know what I mean? It was expected because I was going to go and do it if he didn't stop me. Do you know what I mean? So he's the only man that I think could do it, him or me.
Well, the good thing is, obviously, I know that you had 2 years out. That's not a good thing, but you were back, and you're back with a victory against Gonzalez. Getting that train back on the track is a really important thing for a fighter, isn't it?
Yeah.
What were the emotions like going into that fight? Were they any different than previously? Did you feel any extra pressure going into that one?
Not really, but if you look at all my kind of fights, right, it's like the better that the guy is, the better that I do. Do you know what I mean? Like you can go in there and see me last one, and you go and watch the Patrcio one, and it's like it's a different fight. Do you know what I mean? Because it's just how, and I even noticed this in sparring. It's kind of, you'll see an amateur, they'll go in and kind of get or do all right, but then you'll see a high level pro where I'm coming in going, this fella's not getting an inch. Do you know what I mean? And I kind of feel like I did that in my last fight about the actual fight, but obviously I respected his jiu-jitsu and stuff, but I didn't respect his fight and his grit enough. Do you know what I mean? And it just kind of was just needed to get the win.
You need that fear factor, don't you? You need that fear.
Exactly. And my only fear going into that was just winning. That was it. Do you know what I mean? So I just did what I had to do to get the win. But this time I'm coming to fight. So it is, I'm coming running across the cage and we take his fucking head off. That's what I'm not here just to win. Do you know what I mean? I'm coming out here to put on the Jimmy show for my own people. And when he walk into the cage and we look at him and when he run across the cage and take his head off, that's the difference this time.
We've had a change of opponent. Originally it was the man that's obviously taking on Pitbull in that main event, Kennedy. It's changed to Higo. I know that you've got history with Higo. I'm just trying to think stylistically how that changed. They're kind of both grapple heavy. They're just physically different. Would you agree with that? Yeah. One's a tall dude, one's a stocky dude.
So one's got a middle game and one's got an end game. Do you know what I mean? So Jeremy has the middle game, and once he gets in the middle, he's hard to get underneath and he's hard to get up above. So that's a very, very difficult challenge. Is where Higo's kind of got like a more all around kind of pressure, or more like a moves around you a bit more, snatches, submissions, is where Jeremy's going to get stuck to you and knock it off you. Do you know what I mean? Is where if Higo tries to do that, it's easier to get underneath and he'll go for submissions a bit more. He'll jump on your neck. So things are easier to get going. So with Jeremy, it would have been more trying to get the ball rolling. Do you know what I mean? Is where this fella is more, I want to pin him and keep him still. Do you know what I mean? So that's the only difference. He's kind of a bit more power on the feet as well. I would say a bit more. Jeremy's kind of better. This guy's more dangerous.
The beautiful thing about it from your point of view, and obviously for those that don't know too much about it, Jeremy Kennedy has been moved up to fight Pitbull for the full title. Your original fight with him was an eliminator anyway for the title. Mm-hmm. And the beautiful thing about this, obviously with you fighting Leandro Higo, you got a bit of history with him. You originally booked with him last year. Most people would look at that and say, well, you win that, you're fighting the winner of the main event.
Yeah.
It really is that straightforward, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's what they said to me when they gave me the fight. So the ball keeps rolling, and here there's rumors of a show in June in Dublin.
Oh mate, come on! Hey, come on! It's got to be then, hasn't it? It's got to be,
isn't it? It's got to be, and as you said, mate, the stars are just aligning perfectly. So it is. So how good does that sound? Walk in here next week, get a submission rear neck choke finish, and fight for the world title in Dublin in June.
Jeez, man.
Yeah. I think we're on this one.
Mate, I think it's already written, pal. All you've got to do is turn up and go and do your thing, ain't you? That's
exactly,
it.
Mate. Exactly.
Well, obviously, since your last fight and over this 2-year period, PFL, Bellator, there's been a big switch. There's been a big move now. How excited are you about the prospect of where this is actually going? Because the opportunities seem even vaster than they were previously for you.
100%. It just seems like, and I could always see fighters complaining about it, at the start and stuff, and I was going, this is like the most amazing thing to ever happen in the sport. It's like two of the biggest organizations came together to create one. It's like
it's very similar to like when UFC bought Strikeforce, for example, way back in the days. It's very similar to that.
And then that's how DC was created. It's how Ronda Rousey was created. It's how Nick Diaz was created. Do you know what I mean? That's where all these people came up through. And man, it's great. More opportunities, more money, more people, more competition, more belts, just more everything. Do you know what I mean? I like options. Do you know what I mean? And the more of them, the better.
One thing that I am extremely excited about, because obviously Thailand has got a very heavy striking background. Obviously, for people that are big fans of yours, they'll know that you could strangle anybody in whatever situation that you could find yourself in. I'm looking forward to seeing what the striking out there has done to your game, mate, and how that has evolved. Because we're always looking to evolve. We're always looking to get better when you're on those mats.
And it's funny. There's a guy who lives 20 minutes away from me. He's called Conor McBride, but just when I'm back out to Thailand there, what was it, six months ago, he just became the new head boxing coach in Bang Tao MMA. So he only lives 20 minutes down the road with me from here. So
wow,
it's just been great to have someone from home who's I think one of the best boxing coaches in MMA. Do you know what I mean? There's a couple of them out in Thailand, but he's brought my game on so much. So he has, and not only like I could always do it, but more my IQ of striking. Do you know what I mean? That's what I feel like that has really drastically changed. Is kind of like, rather than any tools, add new tools to the toolbox, it's more so when to use the tools. Do you know what I mean? Because I've already got them in there. So it is, so you're just teaching me when to use them.
When this obviously goes your way on March 22nd, who would you prefer in Dublin out of that main event?
Yeah. Pitbull has to be Pitbull, man. He was the champion since I've been signed. When I got signed to the promotion at 18 years old. He's been the champion since then.
Mate, you just made me feel old, man, because I've been watching you fight since you were 18 years of age, mate. Come on.
It's mad, isn't it? It feels like yesterday as well. So it does. It's like I'm 27.
Jeez, you've been doing this for like exactly 7-8 years, man. Yeah. What the hell's going on?
Right. Do you know what I mean?
But you're right in what you're saying. I mean, if you kind of want to take that legendary status, and that's no disrespect to Pitbull, he's still a wicked fighter. I still love watching him fight.
Yeah, but I want to end it.
But from your point of view, you want to fight the guy.
He was there when I started, and I want to end it. That's what it is. I want to end this. I'm going to go in and beat his teammate now next week, and then I want to go and beat him. Do you know what I mean? It's like they give me the little poodle, and I have to work my way up to the big dog. You know what I'm saying?
There's only you that can get away with saying stuff like that, man. So fair enough. Yeah, I'm sure you get asked this all the time regarding aspirations, and the immediate aspiration is obviously to become champion in Bellator PFL and the organisation that you're with. Are there aspirations for UFC? Because people will always ask you that. If you're a mixed martial artist, they'll always ask you, do you want to go to the UFC at some point in your career?
If the opportunity is right, then absolutely. Do you know what I mean? I'll go and fight. I'd love to be able to imagine winning the title and then being able to go and bounce over and fight for the UFC belt. Absolutely. Do you know what I mean? I want to achieve greatness and want to be a world champion. Do you know what I mean? And now I'm just solely focused on staying where I'm at and winning this belt. And then whatever opportunities presents themselves after that, I would be up. If it's the right opportunity, then absolutely I would. But if it's not, then it's not. Do you know what I mean? And that's just how I look at things in life in general. It's when the opportunity presents itself, whatever it may be, the only thing I've got control over is how ready I am. I've got no control over what opportunities presents to me. But if it does, and I'm ready for it, and it's the right one, then I'm grabbing it with two hands.
Mate, I can tell that you're living in Thailand, right? The life of the Buddha is just flowing through you right now, isn't it? Yeah? You've been running up that mountain, rubbing that big thing's belly. I know how you've been working, mate. I know you've been working.
Next week I'm going to be sitting back rubbing me home, mate. Next week I'll be rubbing me home.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.